While some network operators are already well on the way to becoming cloud-native telcos, many are still at the early stage of the journey or have yet to start. So industry body the NGMN has issued a Cloud Native Manifesto to help the sector move ahead. And to find out more about this, I'm talking with Laurent Leboucher, Group CTO and Senior VP of Orange Innovation Networks and a board member at the NGMN. Laurent, great to talk with you today. Thanks very much for joining us. So can you please tell us about the NGMN Cloud Native Manifesto? What is it exactly?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. The NGMN Cloud Native Manifesto is a document which was written jointly by telecom operators in order to define a certain number of principles to qualify what we mean by cloud native in a telco environment. And it's an important document because it is a document that was written by the operators, but also where the board and the board members they really took their time to read it and also to make comments and to tune the document, really to make a document which really reflects a collective understanding, but also very clear principle that we consider our common beliefs about cloud native. It highlights all the challenges that we have to face within our organization, but also in our overall ecosystem, especially in terms of all the requirements to build the infrastructure, but also to implement the network functions and run the network functions that we source from the vendors. So it's really, we consider it's really a global ecosystem movement. And this manifesto is really a starting point to create the right conversation with the vendors, get their reaction, and also make sure that we come to a clear common understanding on what we need and how we can make the journey together.
Okay, interesting. So good to hear that it's a really very much a group effort from the operators. But why is this manifesto needed, and how important is cloud native to network operators?
Yes, it's a good question, because when we speak about cloud native, very often, as you know, it can be considered a bit technical and only for experts. So it's very important to link this very important model with the business challenges that we have. Operators, and I think you know that, they don't want, we don't want to be commoditized. And for that, we need to reinvent the way we deliver the connectivity. Connectivity needs and will become richer. It will become more powerful, to some extent also more CO2 aware and more business application aware. And you know that, for instance, with 5G slicing, we will support a different kind of requirements, quality of service requirements, but not only in terms of bandwidth, but also in terms of latency, in terms of resilience, in terms of the way we want also to control the traffic, in some cases keep it local, in some cases use a very wide coverage, and so on. So the move to application aware also is about on demand. It means that the underlying factory, which is how we build, how we deliver, how we run the network, also needs to become much more agile, much more automated, and much more repeatable. And there comes the need to introduce the cloud native practices. Why? Because in fact, it's been proven already on the IT side that with those practices, you can really make huge progress in the way you can deliver your functions. You can, but you can do that on live environments without too much perturbation, too much disruption of the journey of the customer experience. So you can keep, for instance, your infrastructure up and running and change the function, or you can keep the function running, but also move some element of the infrastructure. You can also automatically scale your capacity if, for instance, the traffic increase, or you can fail over in a way which is not even seen by the customer or seen as really in a way which is very minimal. So all those mechanisms can be automated in to some extent. Of course, whenever it's software-based, of course, there is always cases that we will need to cope with on the physical part of the network. But from a software standpoint, you know that most of the problems comes with change. This is why we definitely need to be very strong and extremely good at those practices. It's also important, I think, for operators, because from a financial standpoint, it will, of course, it will reduce OPEX. But I think it's really on the top line and in the way we can deliver in a much more agile way, and also unleash new opportunities also to monetize our networks and give this capacity to product teams.
Okay, excellent. I mean, that sounds like quite a major step forward from the legacy practices that the telcos are used to. Now, the manifesto, this is already published and available from the NGMN website. What impact does the NGMN hope that this document will have on the ecosystem?
We would like this manifesto to create a debate, an open debate, and also we want to get feedback from the ecosystem, from the vendors, and we want to have a conversation. We want the vendors, maybe some of them might disagree on some aspects, or maybe they may have also some proposals to help create a common set of practices. Because what is key here is also we need to try not to reinvent the wheel everywhere, because as an operator, we deliver and operate network services. It's not about function. It's not about function per function. It's really end-to-end services. And from that standpoint, it's key that network vendors, our industrial partners, they come up with proposals also to work together, because they will have to work together. They will have, for instance, to share the same principles, but also in some cases to share the same CI/CD pipelines, the same testing tools. So it's key that we create this conversation, and not only on a one-to-one basis, but really as an open debate. And this is really the main purpose of this manifesto.
Okay, excellent. Now, what should telecom operators be thinking about right now in terms of their cloud native strategies?
First of all, it's not a question of infrastructure technology. I mean, of course, there are some technology aspects, but beyond that, and much more important, it's really a question of operating model. If we move to this cloud native model, it means also that we move from the old vertical way of building networks and integrating networks to a much more horizontal way, where we will need to rely on a common cloud platform. Maybe there will be several of them at the beginning, but step by step, we will move to common platform, common tools on top of it, and we will need to bring teams from different places in the organization. So we need also to break the silos, remove the boundaries, and really creating synergies. We will need also, and I think it's important for operators to think about how to limit the provision of tools. There are too many tools, and very often the tools are built in a vertical way. So we need to think horizontal as much as possible. When we try to introduce GitOps practices, there is a unique source of truth. We need a Git repository, and the Git repository needs to be shared by the different network vendors.
Okay. So that's what the operators in general need to be considering. And of course, we've heard about this over the years, but still quite a lot of work to be done. Orange has been very vocal about cloud native and has been one of the market leaders from the telco perspective. Where is Orange right now in terms of its cloud native journey?
To be honest, I think that we are at the beginning of the journey. We are fully aware that it is a huge shift, a huge transformation. We've started to work on it the hard way, and we've launched a few years ago a project called PKO, which was an experimental 5G cloud native network, and we deployed this experimental networks in several areas in France and in Spain. And it allowed us to understand the impact on the processes, the impact on the skills, the impacts on what needs to be done to deliver this network. We've learned a lot, and now from that, we also created what we call a network integration factory, which is a capacity to implement the pipeline, the CI/CD pipeline, for a set of functions. There is not one network integration factory within Orange. It's more a set of different network integration factories, but working together in a federated way and with a kind of shared environment in the middle, which do everything that can be done in order to pre-integrate the functions and then deliver those configurations, those images to the different local network integration factories. So this is a process which is ongoing. We've started already with several countries. We have also, as you know, we are quite active to bring the ecosystem on a common open source telco cloud platform, which is called Silva. And Silva is a Linux Foundation project. So we are quite active to bring the ecosystem, and not only cloud native infrastructure vendors, but also network vendors and of course operators. Of course, the NGMN Cloud Native Manifesto is key, because it's really, as I said, a way to create the debate, and we will be, as Orange, very active in this debate, because we strongly need this alignment from the ecosystem. We have started in Orange to change a little bit the way we source our network functions, network components. And now, for some functions, we try to become more horizontal, meaning that we try to decouple as much as we can the infrastructure and the network functions. The big part that we shouldn't miss, and I think it's key also in our journey within Orange, is the skill program. So both upskilling and reskilling, and also a bit of recruitment. This is absolutely essential, because it's really start with the people, and it starts with how we can grow the skills in order to move, let's say, people who used to be more doing activities that could be fully automated. So now we try as much as possible to move the skills upfront in the overall factory pipeline, to be in charge of automation and to be in charge of building this environment, controlling this environment. So this is a kind of shift left of skills. It means quite a lot of training, training about hard skills like Kubernetes, like CI/CD, but also the practices of how we can use GitOps, how we should use it. And it's also about putting those skills into practices. And for that, we have created different projects that we use as a school for new people to join the team. And we try also to bring together people from the IT side who are already very good at those practices, and also network experts. Bring them together and create a very strong synergy and a new set of skills.
Okay, fantastic. Well, great insights there into what Orange is doing, and that sounds like some fantastic steps forward. And that, coupled with what's in the manifesto from the NGMN, will provide a fantastic amount of information to help the rest of the sector move forward. Laurent, thanks very much for joining us today and helping us to understand more about the manifesto and updating us with what's going on at Orange. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.